Wonderful. My name is Sanjay Agnihotri, and welcome. I'm the publisher of Canadian Immigrant Magazine. Welcome to the Canadian Immigrant web conference series in partnership with Access Employment. This industry-specific web conferences for internationally educated engineers, technologists, and technicians. Please note, this will be recorded and posted on our website to watch for those who cannot attend in person today. Before we kick things off with our first presenters, a short video to share with you from one of our sponsors, Western Union, who supports Canadian Immigrant and allows us to run these complimentary events and webinars for newcomers across the country.
Hi, Jasmine. It's your brother here. I'm sending a little money home to help that dream of yours become a reality.
You're using money. You send more than money. Western Union.
Thank you to all our partners, and thank you to Western Union. Great, let's get things started. I am thrilled to introduce our first speakers from Access Employment, Sandeep and Hassan. Sandeep and Hassan will be speaking to us on the Engineering Connections Program and services offered from Access Employment. If you have any questions for Sandeep and Hassan, please feel free to type them in the chat by clicking on the chat button or the Q&A buttons and typing them right into the right-hand side of the rail, and we will answer them at the end of this presentation. Alternatively, you can also email us directly at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. That's info@canadianimmigrant.ca. Over to Sandeep and Hassan. Thank you very much, and thank you to Access Employment.
Hey, thank you, Sanjay. As you mentioned, my name is Sandeep. I work with Access Employment. I've been here for more than 10 years, actually 12 to be precise. And I've been recently, taken the role of a project manager for the Engineering Connections program. I am joined by my colleague, Hassan Sabah. I would let him introduce himself before I begin the presentation. Hassan, do you want to say a few words before I go?
Sure.
Right in? Yeah.
I'm very happy to be here and welcome everyone to this webinar. Thanks, Canadian Immigrant to organize this. My name is Hassan Sabah, and I've been working with Access Employment since 2009. And I also, like Sandeep, manage project management for engineers, as well as the regular engineering programs in Access. And I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have. Thank you.
Thank you, Hassan. Basically, I'll talk about Access Employment before I get into the engineering component. So Access Employment is a not-for-profit employment service, which means we provide employment services for not only new immigrants, but anybody that's looking for a job. So what we do is we provide a range of effective job search programs and services. We have seven different locations throughout the Greater Toronto area, and we provide convenient online services that are available to job seekers locally, nationally, and internationally, and even for people that haven't arrived, meaning they are going through. For pre-arrival immigrants, basically people that have applied to come to Canada and they've received their COPRs and they're waiting to just take the flight over. So we just do that to help prepare them for the market before they actually arrive. We have our virtual services where we offer information sessions, webinars, and and even our programs. Ever since the pandemic started, we've been working remotely, but now since things have gotten better, we're beginning to come back into the office, but most of our programs are still online, meaning you can attend from the comfort of your home. We have a virtual employment and resource attendant who is available at any time whenever you go to our website, and it's more than happy to answer all your questions. So yeah, as I mentioned, we have programs and services, and I will talk about the engineering programs that we have in specific. So I'm going to share my screen, and let me know if you have any difficulties. Looking at this is a PowerPoint presentation. Anna, are you able to see my screen? I guess I can't.
Yes, Sandeep, is.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay.
Start. I go to a slideshow. Okay. All right. Okay. So I will be talking about the Engineering Connections program that we offer. This program has been around since I guess for 12 years now. It's as old as I am within the with Access Employment, and I often joke about that. And I've been with this program for quite some time, and specifically, we've helped a lot of engineers. Sorry, I'm just getting a hang of this. There are 4 different streams, as Hassan mentioned. There is the actually 3 different streams, with engineering having 2 of its own substreams. So the top main 3 are engineering connections, project management, and electrical engineering. I will go through the eligibility and suitability, and and the topics that we discuss, and what type of support we provide during and after the programs and the registration process. And as Sanjay or Hassan mentioned, we will leave the questions till the end after we're done with the presentation, and we would really appreciate that. You can either type your questions in the chat. Okay. So as I mentioned, the Engineering Connections program has been around for 12 years. And we've had about 5,000 graduates from them, and with an 80% commensurate employment rate within, I guess, 6 months after, completing the program. We partner with a lot of, or we have a lot of employers that hire from us. They are aware of the programs. They know that the people that graduate are, they understand the Canadian engineering sector and the employment market, and are able to, find it easy to integrate into the job market. We have over 100 employers that we have like a database of, that we've been constantly in touch with, that we refer our candidates or graduates to, and they are interviewed. I mean, we're not a placement agency, as people think sometimes that we are, but we work in collaboration with employers, where we will send our graduates, or our participants for an interview, and the hiring process would start from that point onwards. And whether or not they get hired, it's up to the employer to determine whether they are a good fit. There are, in terms of the programs, we have several institutes that do deliver the academic components, such as we have Humber College, which is again a community college. We have Seneca College, we have Ryerson University, and so on. And they all sort of deliver their component for our programs, and we deliver the employment components. And we also collaborate with PEO and OSPI. PEO is the licensing body for engineers in Ontario. Excuse me. Professional Engineers of Ontario, to be precise. So what they do is they provide, it's kind of like, I'm pretty sure you have your government governing bodies for engineering that determine whether you are capable of taking liability for the engineering work that you do. So if you are if you are registered as a professional engineer with PEO, you have the ability to sign your design work and take liability for it. Not all engineering companies, like not all engineers are required. I mean, you are required at some point. It depends on your background and your field, really. If you are signing, design work right now, like you migrate to Canada, chances are that we would suggest you to find work at the same level, and you would definitely have to apply for an engineering training. Excuse me. Second, I just need some water. Yeah, so we would help you with the process of getting your license. I mean, help you in terms of we have PEO, a representative that would come up and they would talk about the process and eventually help you go through to get or to sit for whatever it is that you have to what they require you to do. And then we also collaborate with OSPE, the Ontario Society of Professional Engineers. They are not a regulatory body, but they do have engineers that come together, and then they have different events that they entertain you with. We also, so in terms of the bridging program for electrical engineers, this is one of the first online bridging programs that we introduced in 2018. This is more specific, other than the three regular engineering fields that we have. This is specifically designed for electrical engineers. Again, I'll talk more in detail as we go on with this presentation. On top of all this, we also have alumni, that people that have graduated months or years ago. They come back and they want to give in, they want to help the newcomers that are, that have recently come, and they provide the support in the form of coaching or, and mentoring and even placements. And, and we're always happy to, have them come back and sort of pitch in and, help people that come after them. Okay, so now I'll go specifically into, as I mentioned, we have three streams. The regular engineering, electrical, and the project management. So let me talk about the regular engineering stream first. We deliver it from 3 different locations: North York, Mississauga, and Markham. It used to be traditional, like classroom-based 6-week programs, Monday to Friday, 9:30 to 4 p.m. But now it's been online. So you don't have to be specifically living in Mississauga to join a program in North York. It depends on availability, So on average, we take about 18 to 20 candidates every program. So you can imagine between 3 programs, we have well over 50 to 60 candidates. And the program runs all year round. It's back to back. Like we usually have at least maybe 2 weeks in between, but most of them would run back to back all year round. So, and we have several consultants between North York, Mississauga, and Markham that deliver these programs. And, and we are always, as I say, we're always, facing engineers where we live and eat engineering, so currently it's online. There is no cost. This is something that you may want to, see, because as I mentioned, we are a government funded program. This specific, we are funded at several levels, like different provincial, regional, or even at a federal level. So some of these funders are able to make some of these programs free. Others may have a small fee, but then that fee can be reimbursed, and I will talk about that later on. But first, let's talk about this. This is a free program. There's no cost, and it's funded by IRCC. IRCC are the same people that you apply for when you come to Canada. It's Immigration, Refugee, Citizenship Canada, as previously known as CIC. So they directly fund this program, and we partner with Humber and Seneca. So Humber is normally involved with the North York and Mississauga programs, and then Seneca College is involved with the Markham program. I will talk about what they do as I move forward. Eligibility for these programs is you have to be a permanent resident or a conventional refugee, meaning you have to have landed in Canada, enabled to join these programs. We don't usually take people on work permits, or actually we don't, because that's what our funders say. We don't take people on work permits or who have applied or who are claimants in terms of on their refugee status, meaning they have applied to become a refugee, but they haven't received their papers yet, or they're hearing. So once you hear from a judge, then you become a conventional refugee. And then that's where we're able to provide you this program. And we don't take citizens either, because, if this is a program oriented towards newcomers, and most of the people that have been here a while, they know how to go about their job search. You need to have minimum 1 year of engineering experience from outside of Canada, internationally trained with a degree or diploma in engineering. Canadian language benchmark, which is the equivalent of your IELTS. I guess there is a table on the IRCC's website that show you what these benchmarks are. The Canadian language benchmark it's an English exam that a lot of the institutes would consider when you come to Canada. This is a free test that you can take. It used to be online, but now it's in person. Again, it's similar to IELTS. They test your ability, your listening, your speaking, and your reading and writing abilities. So there are, to sort of clarify, for the regular engineering program is it's divided into two streams based on the Canadian language benchmark. So the first one, the regular program, is for people with a benchmark of 7 or higher. And the other one is for people who have a lower benchmark, lower than 7. They are both very similar in terms of their contents. For the regular program, we talk about resume writing in terms of job search, cover letters, interview preparation, labor market, and others. So interview would, all these components are related to your job search. And the engineering or the sector specific, as I mentioned, components are PEO licensing, meaning your professional engineering, so Engineer of Ontario licensing, how do you go about it? Engineering and safety codes in Canada or in Ontario, your safety standards and your regulations, meaning anything that you may require. Again, we don't teach you this from scratch, but we are able to help you understand how they differ, or you are able to understand you will be able to understand how they would differ from what you have already experienced in your life, in your professional life, in your countries. And for the most part, most engineering codes can be similar, but you will learn that. So it really is a refresher course. We're not trying to sort of re-educate you. The language, on the other hand, as I mentioned, the other program, sorry, I just skipped my screen there. So for the regular program, for people that have an English benchmark of over 7, you go through Canadian work culture, cold calling, networking, social media, and other social media being LinkedIn, etc. And then PEO licensing, engineering safety code. Just to clarify, it's for people with a higher language benchmark. For people with a lower benchmark, similar program, it's just got a different name. It's free again. We run it out of 3 locations. Same thing, Monday to Friday. The academic partner, Humber College, being for North York and Mississauga, and Seneca College for Markham. Eligibility is similar: permanent resident, conventional refugee, minimum 1 year experience from outside Canada, internationally trained with a degree or diploma in engineering, Canadian language benchmark, 5 or 6. So having lower English levels, but again, it's the same component, just that it has a workplace communication component built into it, where you would learn how to communicate within the engineering sector or the employment sector in Canada and Ontario. And at the end of this program, there will be another test. Usually you're not able to, once you sit for the CLB test, normally they don't let you, let's say you got all 6s, all 4 6s, they won't let you sit for another exam for another year. Or if you take an English language program from a recognized institute in Ontario, and that way you'll be able to hopefully raise your benchmark by 1 point. Let's say you become 7 from 6 after going through like an English program. Whereas in this program for engineers, you will get to sit for that test at the end of the program, which is after 6 weeks, and that's a good thing. And normally, because it's it's an ongoing, there is an ongoing assessment, a lot of people end up getting a higher English benchmark. And a lot of times this benchmark will help you get into several different programs in Ontario as well. Now let me move on to the project management for engineers. This is provided from North York and Mississauga. This is an 8-week program. Again, as Hassan mentioned, he is the manager for this program. And Hassan, correct me if I'm wrong at any time. It is currently online Monday to Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. It is delivered 4 times a year. Sometimes, engineers come in and maybe it's not taking place at that moment. Maybe there's a month or 2 in between. So they choose to go into the regular engineering stream and then they move on into this program, which is fine with us, no problem. And many times they end up getting work even before this, or sometimes we've even had people who found work and then they came back to take this part-time because their employer encouraged it. So this is $400 plus tax. Again, the money goes to, the university, the Toronto Metropolitan University, previously known as Ryerson University. This may be, there may be a refund, or like there's a, what do you call it? It's called OBPAP. It's like a grant. It's not a loan where the government will reimburse the money that you paid into the program. Ontario Bridging Participant Assistance Program. You can Google it. You'll find more information about that. And that's money you can be utilized for other such programs as well. There is a whole list of programs that are eligible for the OBPAP. So it's offered by the Toronto Metropolitan University, which used to be known as Ryerson University. Eligibility for this is, oops, sorry, my screen is sensitive. You have to be a permanent resident. You can be a citizen as long as you're a naturalized Canadian citizen, which means you've lived here for a certain amount of time, and then you applied for citizenship and you were granted the citizenship. And you can be a refugee claimant. As I mentioned, there's a difference between claimants and conventional refugees, meaning you could be waiting to go through a hearing, but you must have a valid work permit. Minimum 2 years of engineering project management experience from outside Canada, internationally trained degree or diploma holder in engineering, Canadian language benchmark 7 or 8. So as I mentioned, if you had a lower CLB, you could possibly go through our Workplace Essentials program and take this, and hopefully maybe you might improve your English through that at the end of the program, get higher marks in your CLB, and you can attend this program. Again, there's a lot of, we have a lot of flexibility. You can take a couple of programs at the same, or one after the other. The topics in this program include fundamentals of project management and PMP, for those of you who are familiar with this profession. PMP exam preparation, which is offered by the PMI Institute. and that satisfy the PMP certificate requirement of 35 hours of PDU, which translates into professional development units. Sometimes people already have it and they just have to refresh that, and that's fine too. You can come and attend this program, and this course will help you with that. Moving forward, now I'm going to talk about electrical engineering connections. As I mentioned earlier, this is specifically designed for electrical engineers. Again, location online, mostly evening sessions, 2 to 3 times a week. This is a 9-week program, and we have quarterly intakes, meaning 4 times a year, I guess, or 3. Yeah, that would be 4 times a year. Cost is $500 plus tax. Other costs related to the program funded by the Government of Ontario. As I mentioned, the OBPAP program, which is the Ontario Bridging Participant Assistance Program. People are, or candidates are able to apply for that. And you can look at their eligibility on their website. Academic partner, it's delivered in conjunction or in collaboration with Humber College again. Eligibility, you have to be a permanent resident, naturalized Canadian citizen, conventional refugee claimant with work permit. So a little more flexibility there. Minimum 2 years electrical engineering experience from outside Canada, internationally trained, degree or diploma in electrical engineering. Canadian language benchmark, again, 7 or 8. The topics that are delivered there are 105 hours, health and safety codes and standards, application of measuring instruments and Ontario electric codes, overview of industrial automation in Ontario, energy systems and electrical equipment in Ontario, together with the job search topics, which are pretty much similar across all programs: resume writing, cover letter, interview preparation, labor market, Canadian work culture, cold calling, networking, social media, job search, PEO licensing, and others. Additional support through these programs is that we provide is one-on-one coaching, where our consultants sit down with our clients, and we help you understand how to go about your job search or any other employment-related needs. We have a job developer or an employer liaison. So with every program, we have a consultant who is able to guide you through the process of your process of employment. And at the same time, we have specialized employer liaisons who are professionals that work with you as a client or candidate, and plus they have relationships with employers. And their job is to go out there into the market and find out what's out there for you, and they bring it back, and they can also help you apply for certain positions. They can help you understand the local employment engineering sector around you, and eventually they can help you set up interviews as well. And oftentimes I tell people that 80% of companies are small to mid-size in Ontario, actually throughout Canada for that matter, but a lot of people are only aware of the so-called the Fortune 500s, or your Alice Dons and your Bruce Powers and or your Nikes and Coca-Colas, for example, but whereas, and that's where we look at usually when we travel to another country. But the fact is that a lot of engineering companies are actually small to mid-size, which means they could have less than 200 employees working for them. So yeah, those are the things that we will talk about during the program, and we help you make employer connections. We'll guide you, we'll ask you a lot, because a lot of times we have engineers that several different sectors. It could be like oil and gas or mining, or so we help you determine where these companies are, and and guide you in terms of securing employment. We also provide WHMIS, which is Workplace Health and Safety certificates online. You do that as part of the programs. It is optional if you're interested. It is free if you are attending the program. We do LinkedIn Learning, and we also have IBM Skills Build that we offer you. Now, in terms of events during these programs, we set up webinars with employers or with alumni, again to help you understand the sector better. And we partner with the Toronto Regional Immigrant. I don't know their full form, TRIAC. It is an organization like ours who offer mentoring support. So they recruit mentors, and we are able to help you match with them, and then they will help provide Immigrant Council, Toronto Regional Immigrant Council, and they will help you provide ongoing one-on-one support to help you understand the local engineering sector. They are usually you will be usually matched with somebody who has similar background and experience with you. Virtual recruitment events, these are common these days, since a lot of companies are working remotely. Most of the recruitment events are virtual, meaning online hiring, et cetera, et cetera. After you find work, we keep working with you. Not only once you are in the program, we not only help you find employment, but we also help you sustain it, because sustaining employment is it's actually a bigger issue than finding employment. If that may surprise you, because a lot of companies have probation periods where you would have to sort of prove that you are a good fit to the organization. So access to business coach, we provide a business coach who you can pick up the phone and call and say, hey, this is what's happening. How do I deal with this situation? And we can help you in terms of job retention. Overall intake process, you go through an information session once you arrive, or you could attend it as long as you have the intention to move to Ontario and you want to work here. And of course, you're eligible for, you have already applied and already received your papers from immigration. You're just waiting to come here. You can start working with us. Information session, we will deliver online. You will submit your documents. If you feel that this is a good fit for you, then we'll get your documents. We'll review your application, and we'll do an interview with you one-on-one to find out what your needs are. And if it turns out that you're not, suitable or eligible, or we can still refer you to other means of support. And then eventually you get accepted into the program. Now the documents that we require, we need a resume. We need your status, meaning, what background you have, like in terms of your immigration status. Documents that prove your residency, which is required only for electrical engineering, meaning you have to be in Ontario, maybe an address proof, or like a bank letter or something like that. A chronological resume, a language assessment report, which I did mention earlier, the CLB, and finally a credential evaluation report, which a lot of people do already have one before they come to Canada, because that's one of the requirements for immigrating to Canada. If you don't have it, we can help you do it over here. Usually it's, we can help you do a preliminary assessment, which is free of charge, and we can provide you information on that. But that wouldn't be eligible for your immigration, though. That's only eligible for our programs. Upcoming cohorts, believe it or not, we're starting 2 cohorts on Monday, and 22 in one, and I think 16 in another. And then another one starting on July 25th, September 2nd. All this information is on our website, and you can visit us. Project management starts October 25th, and then, sorry, my apologies, October 3rd October and 25th November. And then electrical engineering starts on 24th October and 23rd December. And that's the link to our website. And I guess that's it for me. This is something, a quote from one of our previous graduates, William. He's a piping design engineer and works with Hatch Engineering. Access definitely got me focused and put me on the right path towards success. Thank you. Any questions? And
Sandeep, thank you. That was wonderful and sincerely appreciated. Very informative. Couple of questions have come through, and I'll read them out for you. First one is, will the courses you mentioned remain online for the foreseeable future?
Hassan, you want to take that one for me?
Sure. Yeah, well, electrical engineering will be online forever because they are actually designed for that. Project management for engineers will be going on. It is online and it will stay online for some time. We don't know if we ever going to go back to the classroom. However, the regular engineering, which is the LMA, labor access for engineers, and workplace essential for engineers, they could go back, but we are not seeing it this year. So I don't think this current year anything will be go into the classes, I mean physical classes. So online for now, at least this year.
Thank you. And one more. The programs you mentioned, Canadian language benchmarks, can it be CELPIP, CELPIP, or IELTS, IELTS?
Okay, one of our program definitely only we can take with a CLB, which needed to be taken. That would be workplace essentials for engineers. That's a mandatory one. The other one, we are a little bit flexible. However, the government, both Ontario and the federal, have strongly encouraged everyone to take the CLB, Canadian language benchmark. But we are flexible. We can discuss this situation with each individual. So putting it simply is, we can consider for some of our programs, but not for all. Yeah. Okay.
And one final question for you both. And it seems it's a common theme, so somewhat trying to group this together. Do these courses cover the following types of engineering? Chemical, oil and gas, civic, and how about mechanical assembler?
Yeah. Do you want me to go?
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. No problem.
Sure.
I'll add whatever I had.
So the basic idea and the goal of all of our programs are employment. Now, some of them are a little bit leaning, even electrical engineering, leaning towards, for example, maybe mechanical. Some of them may be only general. Now, for civil engineer and construction, those who are aiming to go working as project management in any direction, like estimation or being a project manager, we have the project management for them. And those who aiming to work not in project management, then the program that we deliver with Seneca College has some Ontario building codes and some other parts that more suitable for the clients who are interested in, well, there are civil engineers or working towards working in construction industry, like other mechanical or electrical engineers. The electrical engineers that we know where they can go, and that also covers electronic engineer and telecommunication engineers, like power electronics and others. I saw one question was regarding that as well. Now, the rest of our participants, which includes mechanical, oil and gas, and metallurgical and others, they usually go to our regular engineering. And we have, I think I could say by stats that around 70% of our participants in regular engineering are non-civil engineers. So let's put it this way, or mechanical, electrical, even we have people from aeronautics, aerospace, and some other disciplines like mining and others.
Okay. Thank you. And there are a few other questions. We can't get to all of them, folks. However, we'll pass this along to both Sandeep and Hassan. And feel free, and we'll try to connect you either to the right website. Sincerely appreciated. Sandeep, Hassan, once again, thank you on behalf of Canadian Immigrant Magazine.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you for inviting us.
Yes, absolutely.
Awesome. Next up to join us on the Canadian Immigrant Web Conference series for internationally trained engineers, technicians, and technologists, of course, in partnership with Access Employment. I'd like to call upon Amy Conning from Seneca College speaking on alternative pathways for engineers, technicians, and technologists through Seneca College. Once again, if you have any questions for Amy, please feel free to type them directly on the chat, or you can email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. Once again, that's info@canadianimmigrant.ca. We are thrilled to have you, Amy. Please take it away.
Great, thank you so much. Thank you for having me. So good afternoon. I am Amy Koning, managing special projects and programs at Seneca College. I have been helping to deliver programs for newcomers and immigrants for over 15 years. Seneca College, just so you are all aware, is Seneca College of Applied Arts and Technology, is a publicly funded college in Ontario. We deliver and offer diplomas, degrees, postgraduate certificates, and thousands of continuing education courses, as well as different customized programming for newcomers. There are colleges across Ontario. If you're not familiar with colleges, there's about 21 colleges in Ontario that offer different programs for learning and to help train everyone in career-driven curriculum. Seneca has several campuses. Our main campus, however, is in the GTA at Finch and the 404, and that's where most of our programs are delivered. I'm going to go through some specific courses and programs that I think will be interesting to this audience, and let me take you through my presentation. Okay, so today we'll talk about programs for newcomers. This is all in the Faculty of Continuing Education and Training, where we develop customized, accelerated programs for newcomers. We're focused on building professional, technical, communication, and occupational specific skills needed to enter and succeed in the Canadian labor market. So one of the courses I just first want to highlight is our occupation-specific language training. So these courses are focused on workplace communication courses in specified sectors. This, like the programs for Access, are funded by Immigration, Refugee, and Citizenship Canada. These are free courses in Ontario. I know that it seems there's a lot of people from all over Canada, maybe even outside of Canada, joining us today. This is very specific to those in Ontario who are already living here and available virtually. We focus on Canadian workplace language, where we're helping you to get more skills to clearly interact with colleagues, clients, supervisors, and we help with resumes, LinkedIn profile. Upon successful completion, everyone receives a certificate from Seneca. So we're actually starting our next session in September. It is all online. So this course is on Mondays and Wednesday evenings, where we have a live instructor with you, going through the curriculum that's been developed by the instructors. And then there's a lot of different work to do on your own time independently. So our course for in IT, in the technologies, or so not IT, sorry, in technology starts in September. And this is really focused on those in engineering and IT sectors, and really helps you to take you through how to research employment in Ontario, expand your workplace vocabulary, practice your pronunciation, learn about professional telephone strategies. We start going through writing skills and developing how to develop emails, and also just improving your soft skills. So just a quote from one of our participants: the OSLT program was important in building my confidence in speaking, as this program gives you the tools to be an entrepreneur if you have that goal, or to find a job in your field. but not worrying about how fluent you are or being shy about your accent. It's fully hands-on and very interactive. It also offers great networking opportunities. So again, as I said, this is for those living in Ontario. We're looking for some proof of work experience that you had in the sector. I think there was a question about what kind of proof. Really, it's just your resume. We just want to see some of your background, that it's related to the occupation that your goal is with. We're again asking for that CLV level. I think maybe in the chat we can put where you can get your CLV assessment in Ontario. It's free, and you can get that for a lot of these programs. A lot of programs in Ontario require that CLV assessment. It's just part of the funders' criteria. And then it's again directed at permanent residents and convention refugees. Like the other program with Access, your status has to be confirmed as somewhat permanent in Canada. However, let's just throw some confusion into that. We're currently accepting Ukrainian newcomers, even though they might only be here temporarily. We are making an exception from now until March. So just letting you know, if you are here in Ontario under that sort of status, this might be an option for you. Okay, I will have all these links at the end of my presentation. Going to our program pages gives you the most information that will help you to decide if this might be a course for you. Okay, so Access already did a great job at describing bridging programs. Just for those, again, who are here, bridging programs really are, they're funded by different people. They're funded by different government bodies. Sometimes it's the Canadian government, sometimes it's the Ontario government, but they're focused on accelerated academic employment focus to launch internationally trained professionals into positions that match their skills and experience. So it's a combination of training, education, with some employment counseling and wraparound supports to help you get into high demand fields. So at Seneca, we have one bridging program that would be maybe an alternative pathway for engineers. That's what we like to say. It's not in engineering, it's not focused on engineering, but it seems that we have a lot of engineers who like to take this program. So it's called, it is called the Building Environmental Systems Accelerated Bridging Program. So some of you might be familiar with what building operators do. Basically, Ontario is set to make historic investments into energy efficient buildings. Okay, if you're in Toronto, every time you look at the horizon, you can see there are lots of buildings that need to be cared for and need support in order to become environmentally friendly buildings. So that is part of what this program trains you to do. So why Seneca? So Seneca has been delivering these building environmental systems courses for over 40 years. We develop these specialized courses with industry, and they are not just for newcomers. We deliver these programs in continuing education for everyone. However, we developed this program in an accelerated format, so you can get it done quicker and in 9 months. So you get a Canadian college certificate and a professional designation. The program's part-time, but very demanding because you're taking a lot of classes at the same time. The instructors who will be teaching you are industry experts. They are working in the field. And as well as part of the bridging program, we also have health and safety courses and hands-on lab practicum that help you to build these skills for this type of alternative career. As well, like any program funded by the government, we have the personalized support, right? So someone, an employment consultant and a job developer to really help you navigate the job market in Toronto or in Ontario. We have a high employment outcome. So this 80% are usually finding work in the field. I have to say that's almost higher than that, since the push with the government to start helping with climate change. There's a lot more push to help these buildings and help employers to start looking at this. And so with this bridging program, you get what's called the BES Class 2 certificate. But with just 2 more additional courses, you can get another certificate called BES Class 1. So Class 1, Class 2 might not mean a lot to you, but this is what the industry wants, right? This is what's on the job postings. This is what they are requiring. This is who they're looking for. So in this accelerated program, you can see here, there's 7 technical courses that you take around building systems, heating, air conditioning, air handling, electrical controls, and water treatment. So again, those courses are offered to anybody. Anybody can actually sign up for those courses. You can pay for them. You can take them through CE, but you can't get them done as fast as in this program. So if you're an internationally trained professional, we always encourage to consider this program because you can be fast-tracked through the courses. As well, you get these other additional supports at no cost. So that's the career management, the health and safety. We offer a communications course and the practicum lab. Some value-added services, again, are that support to help you develop your resume, and access to employer networking events, guest speakers, facility tours, and mentoring. So our next intake date is this September. So we're currently recruiting people. We're currently looking at taking applications. You can see the schedule is very intense, right? It's Tuesdays and Thursday nights, Saturdays all day. And we're moving back to in-person delivery because this is a very hands-on program that, training. It's better to be at our campus with the instructors learning. Okay. So I think everyone's kind of getting the same theme here that it's all looking at post-secondary education obtained outside of Canada. We're looking for a CLB level of 7 and permanent resident Canadian citizen or conventional refugee. Ideally, presently unemployed or underemployed, even though the course is part-time, some people have some jobs during the day. So if you have a job that you need to go to, that will be fine. But I do have to tell people that the course is very intense. So lots of time will be needed to attend. There is a tuition, so the tuition is $2,149, and the course materials are $475. So again, this might seem, this is actually what it would cost anybody. So anyone can join the BES courses. Anyone who's interested in being a building operator, it would take you 2 years to take those courses, and this is what it would cost. Whereas with our program, this is what it would cost in 9 months. However, you get all of those other wraparound supports with the help of the job counselors and job developers. And again, Access touched on OBPAP a little bit. This is a bursary in Ontario that helps those who are in financial need to maybe get some of those costs covered. So we do know it's challenging to find the resources for the tuition, but we do have OBPAP, which is an Ontario Bridging Participant Assistance Program. And so again, that might be, you might be eligible if you're in financial need. So we're currently, we don't have bursaries currently available, but we're hoping to hear news soon for the September intake. And what I would encourage everyone to do is go to our program page if you're interested and sign up for our next information session. And at the information session, we also talk about other resources to help you pay for such a program. Loans for newcomers would also be explained in addition to the OBPAP bursary. Also, just letting everyone know, Seneca campuses are still under the vaccination policy, which remains in effect for the fall semester. Okay, so now just looking at the time, we have a few other courses that might be interesting as alternative pathways for engineers in continuing education. We have AutoCAD, so I'm sure many of you are familiar with this, that it's used by engineers and manufacturers in a wide range of industries. Seneca offers individual courses that students take to upgrade their skills, and they get a recognition of achievement if they take the AutoCAD Essentials course, the AutoCAD 3D Civil course, and the Revit Essentials course. Students who take these courses are more prepared to seek employment in civil design technicians, civil drafters, and entry-level drafting positions. So again, in Ontario, these jobs are in demand, mostly because those who it's one of the most widely software programs that is used out there, as some of you may know. The job market looks good. The wages for this type of job can range starting from $20 an hour to $42 an hour. And as I said, it's in high demand. The other short certificate program at Seneca is our quality assurance program. This is an 8-course certificate that prepares students to work as quality professionals in a range of organizations, from global manufacturing to healthcare, biomedical, hospital and educational systems, etc. So this was developed in consultation with the Toronto chapter of the American Society for Quality, and it will appeal to those who maybe are working in the field of quality assurance, or those again who are looking for an alternative career that will still use a lot of their technical background, who might have an interest in a new pathway. So again, engineering inspectors or regulatory officers usually earn between $25 an hour up to $58 an hour. And that we continue to see growth in this job market, primarily because the current workers are getting ready to retire. So there's a big portion of this workforce who is older in age and will be leaving the workforce. A big push to get more people trained in this area. Okay, and then we have our CNC programming certificates. This is a 5-course recognition of achievement that helps to build programming skills and practical hands-on machining experience. This one is in class. The other 2 programs are still being delivered virtually, but this one is, again, very hands-on. So we need you to come into our campuses, feel the equipment, touch the equipment, learn the equipment. So this is, again, jobs include CNC programmers, machining tool operators, inspectors, and metalwork and forging operators. So again, in industrial engineering or manufacturing engineering, engineers might be interested. The job range, again, ranges from $20 an hour to $40 an hour, and it continues to be a job in huge demand, even more outside of Ontario. So again, that's where the training in these courses are very well subscribed. Sometimes there's a waiting list to take these courses. And anyone can, the last 3 programs I talked about, you can take them. Other than, I guess, for CNC machining, you need to be close to our campus. But for AutoCAD and quality assurance, we do have international students, and we have people from other provinces taking those courses. Part of being a Seneca College student, if you're considering going to a college or returning to school, one of the highlights is that you become a Seneca student, you get access to all of our student services. So these campuses are very large. There's lots of supports there. We have online learning tools. We have a learning center. There's career fairs, a career planning job board. All of the ITS supports help you to use software and programs at home. You're able to access all of that for free. Seneca libraries have lots of resources for you, as well as the Scots directory and LinkedIn Learning. So when you become a Seneca student, you get access to all of these other things to help you prepare for the workplace. And then my last one, this is not related to engineers. This is just for everyone. Seneca has the Career Recharge webinars, and they are free and available at no cost to everyone in the world. So if you go to this web link, you can access recorded webinars from previous sessions or join our Tuesday night series. The reason I bring it up here is it focuses a lot on career building, skills that you need for the workplace, equity, diversity, and inclusion topics, and as well as just career planning and soft skill development. So I highly recommend those just to share with you, share with your friends. They're very interactive. Okay. And so there's my contact information. I know we're under some time constraints, but happy to take questions. These are the primary links that I just went through. And again, I can take direct questions now or in the future if needed.
Amy, thank you very much. If you're okay, we'll take a couple questions now. Sure. to make sure we cover some ones that seem to be more in demand.
Okay.
First one is, I'm a civil engineering student at Seneca College. I have 10 years experience in construction project management. I will be doing my third term in September. Would I be able to participate in the first program you spoke on?
Oh, good question. Please email me directly because I would have to check to see what your status is in Canada. You might be eligible to take that first course. Glad to hear you're at Seneca. Hi. Sounds like you're in a great program. And obviously then you have access to all the career supports as well. But please send me a message directly because I don't want to ask you your personal questions.
Thank you. And then number two, the Seneca certificates you mentioned, are these programs only targeted to PR/citizen refugees in Canada, or can someone with a student permit or work permit participate?
So the first two, so the OSLT language course is just for permanent residents, conventional refugees that are already here. The bridging program in building operations is only, again, Canadian citizens, right? Like the other one, and convention refugees and permanent residents. But the last three certificate programs are open to anybody. And actually, if you're interested in BES courses, anyone can also take those. The only criteria, if you go to every program page, it will tell you the criteria. But we have, like I said, we have international students. We have, if you're on a work permit, or it depends on does your work permit let you take courses? How many hours a week are you allowed to? Same with the study permit. If you're already studying, are you allowed to take something additional? So that can all be navigated through the program pages. But really, it really just depends on if they're in person. Obviously, you need to be close, but they are open. Like we're serving everybody in those last few programs I described.
Okay, wonderful. One last question. I think it's an important one. How can we find costs of the courses you mentioned?
Oh, again, I would be here forever if I went through the cost
Agreed.
of every single course. So the courses are listed, which I would say is this link here. You'll be able to find those courses. You'll be able to navigate the program pages. Each course by course, you'll be able to see what the cost is, and the range in CE, it can go anywhere from $250 a course to $600 a course. It depends on the course. Some courses might be even eligible for OSAP, some are not. That's where it's really good to connect with us, or you can connect through me, and I can always connect you to the program coordinator who can really walk you through what would work for you.
Thank you, Amy. I think that's very helpful, and appreciate if someone has a specific question. Once again, very delighted to have you with us today. Thank you very much, Amy.
Thank you.
Okay, folks, our final speaker for the day are with the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists. We are thrilled to welcome Barry Billing and Julia Farner. If you have any questions for Barry and Julia, please once again type them in the chat box on the right-hand rail, or you can email us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. Barry and Julia, the screen is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Oh, hello, everyone. We're thrilled to be joining you today. I'm just going to wait for our presentation to come up before I begin. This is great. But I'd like to thank the Canadian Immigrant Magazine and everyone for letting us attend today. Oh, okay, excellent. Thank you. So my name is Julia Farner, and I'm the Marketing Communications Manager at OSET, and that's a long acronym for an even longer name, which is the Ontario Association of Certified Engineering Technicians and Technologists. We represent 22,000 members across the province of Ontario, and our members are people who work in, I guess, the engineering and applied science technology fields across 15 disciplines, which I'm going to get to in just a moment. Our members also work for over 6,000 companies across the province. So the companies could be anything from a small consulting firm to a large engineering firm, or even an institution, whether it's a college or levels of government, municipal, provincial. So OSET, I mentioned that we have 15 different disciplines that our members represent. Here's just a snapshot of some of them. There's mechanical, civil, building. That's the majority of our membership. Close to 40% fall under those particular categories. We also have chemical, electronics, environmental, and geomatics, and quite a few others, as you could see. So at present, we're actually even looking at, I guess, being able to bring additional disciplines in for certification. So what's OSET's purpose? OSET is the independent certifying body for engineering and applied science technicians and technologists. So I know that earlier on you had some presentations where they mentioned they work for Professional Engineers of Ontario and OSPE, the Ontario Society for Professional Engineers. We actually work closely with both of those associations as well. We represent people who typically go through the college stream for engineering and applied science technology. And OSET confers 2 designations, our certified technician and certified engineering technologists. So outside of having those designations, we also help our members along the career paths. So whether they're joining us as a student, as a professional working in the field, as an internationally educated professional who's come to Canada and has had, I guess, worked in their field for many years and is looking to get their foot in the door, we really help our members along the career cycle, even up until retirement. We have many, many retired members as well. So what does OSET do? I already mentioned that we certify, and we certify in 2 different disciplines. We also advocate on behalf of our members. So as we mentioned, 15 different disciplines of engineering and applied science technology. When it comes to advocacy, for example, advocating with the government, whether, let's say, there's a code change, regulatory standard change, we'll work with companies and with our members to make sure that their needs are properly represented. We also advocate on behalf of our members to the public to build awareness for the profession, for what it is our members do, and also with different institutions, whether it's the colleges. So we actually work with 24 colleges, including Seneca, and I saw that they're here today. In fact, Seneca's dean sits on our board, so we work closely with them, and other associations as well, like PEO, like OSPE. And as already mentioned, we help our members along the career path, because that's really what's important to us, is helping people, regardless of where they are, either advance in their profession or wind down if they're moving towards retirement. So I mentioned OSET has 2 designations, and they're actually recognized as one of the top 5 most valuable engineering certifications to have in Canada. And this is a stat that was actually published by Randstad Canada. I'm sure many people recognize Randstad because they're a very large international organization representing human resources. So just as even a testament to this, if you were to go online and go to any job site, go to Indeed, anywhere, LinkedIn, and you type in either OSET or you type in one of our designations, you will see a variety of jobs come up where that is a preferred thing to have if you're going to be part of that, or if you're even applying for that job. So that's probably the best testament I could give to how important OSET certification is. So why would you certify with OSET? Well, as I mentioned, we have members that represent over 6,000 companies across the province of Ontario, companies and institutions. So we are definitely very well recognized. OSET members also receive a competitive salary. So to give you an idea of this, OSET has an actual salary survey we do with both our members and companies that hire our members. Our last survey was completed actually this year, and we will be displaying the results of that at our upcoming internationally educated professional event, which we'll get to after, and it's free to attend. But just to give you an idea, they do get a competitive salary. So if you are OSET certified, this is something to consider. So people, let's say other technicians and technologists who may have the credentials often don't earn as much as people who have the credentials and then make that extra effort to become certified, which brings me to the next point. It is a mark of professional achievement. So certification in and of itself is definitely a road. There are various requirements, which my colleague is going to get into in just a moment. But also, I mean, it's a pride to an individual. That's why I'm sure everyone's seen, whether it's on LinkedIn or even email signatures, always after someone's last name, there's a few letters, maybe sometimes even a lot of letters, depending on the individual. And that shows that they've gone above and beyond just their basic education to go for some sort of additional qualification, like a certification. And of course, as I mentioned, personal development. So many of our OSET members volunteer either with our chapters. We have 27 across the province of Ontario. They volunteer with our committees, on our boards. And whether, depending on how active you are as a volunteer, remember, it's always who you know, not what you know. It's a great opportunity to get involved, meet other professionals, find out about job opportunities, and even grow yourself, grow your leadership skills. So even if you're someone who's new to Canada, that's really what you want to do. You want to get involved with people. Oftentimes, depending on your level of English, you could practice English with people who are there, find out more about how to get your foot in the door, because it's always different in different places, how we interact and how we do business. So I can't undervalue how important it is for personal development to network with other individuals. And now I'm going to hand the floor over to my colleague, Barry Building, the Director of the Institute of Engineering Technology Ontario and OSET's Registrar. Thank you.
Thank you, Julia. So I am going to speak on behalf of OSET certification as well as applications and how to become a member of OSET actually.
You have accidentally muted yourself.
Thank you. Thank you. So when I clicked on it, it looks like it muted. And I apologize, there's some construction going on outside. So at a high level, what OSET does for certification, we have 3 different levels of membership that you can be at OSET. And so we will start with step 1, which is the associate level. So individuals that apply to OSET and pay their application fee are automatically made a temporary member of OSET. And so when submitting your application to us, we are looking for some information that I'll touch on a little further. But one of the initial thing that we need is a diploma that you have, or the equivalent of a diploma from an Ontario Institute in Engineering Technology or Applied Science. That's the first step along with your application, so that we can just confirm that you are indeed at the level that you need to be in order to be certified. So then moving on to step 2 is what we are what's recognized as a certified technician. So the designation, as Julia was mentioning, the designation you would receive as a certified technician is C.Tech. And in order to get a certified, in order to be a certified technician, you would have the equivalency of a 2-year diploma from Ontario in engineering and technology or applied science. You would also have obtained 2 years of work experience at that level, the appropriate technician level, as well as you will complete a OSET Internationally Educated Professional Practice exam, which I will touch on a little further later on. And for us, it's a confirmation of your English language proficiency, which is a Canadian language benchmark of level 7. Should you wish to proceed on to a certified engineering technologist, which we recognize as a C.E.T. That is a requirement from an academics perspective of a 3-year equivalency to a diploma from Ontario Engineering Technology Program. Once again, the other areas are similar in that you would still need 2 years work experience. You still have to complete a professional practice exam. But what is different that the technologists do that a technician would not be required to do is indicate that they have completed a successful technology report. The report would be sent to us for review by our admissions committee, and they would indicate whether it's successful or not and provide any feedback if there's things that need to be changed before being successful. And once again, we would need the English language proficiency equal to a level 7. There we go. So let's start with step 1. So as indicated in the previous slide, what we are looking primarily at is educational requirements as well as work experience. So the 2 major areas that I'll be talking about today in regards to being a member. So in order to become an associate member, much like I just stated before, you would need a 2-year diploma to be a C-Tech designation, and we need 3 years towards CET. As well as that, we need to have some proof of your education. So what we definitely need is transcripts sent from your post-secondary institute directly to us. We cannot accept it from you. It's preferred that it is sent directly from the college. So we know there has been no tampering with it. And so it's just an insurance that everything is valid. And so there's a couple of ways to do it now. That obviously you can send it to us hard copy. They can be uploaded electronically or indicated from the college where to go to pick it up electronically. So different colleges do it differently, but I would indicate that you would need to contact your institution in order to have transcripts sent directly to us. Otherwise, if you can't, we also allow for notarized copies to be made of your official transcript before sending it to OSET. So if you do have a copy with you, it would have to be notarized. You'd have to go to an individual who would indicate that they have seen it and it is official, and they would likely stamp it and indicate that to us. As well as if you are coming from a country where English is not the preferred language, then we can have it translated by the Association of Translators and Interpreters of Ontario as our preferred translator, as well as other equivalents. But for the most part, if you need to translate it, doing it through ATIO is the preferred method. I would also state that we would also accept them in French as being another official language of Canada. So whether in English or in French, it will be accepted, but if otherwise, we would need to have it translated. So associate members, they work towards certification. And so as they're doing this, we indicate to you what's needed or what's outstanding for you to become certified. So this can often be obtained within 1 year when applying with the required academics and work experience. It does take a number of months to kind of go through and have the admissions committee review items. And potentially if you're sending in working towards a CET and you have to send a technology report, it does take a little bit of time. It'll take a few months to get from the start to the finish, but we would have them all completed well within 1 year once we have all that information. And so once that's occurred, we allow for you to actually obtain what information or academics are still outstanding within 3 years of us reviewing your file. And in some cases, if much more academics are required, we allow up to 6 years for you to certify. So we're here to help you, and we provide information to you if what we see is not quite what we need or if we need additional information. So if you didn't graduate from a post-secondary engineering or applied science program, you can still apply if you have at least a minimum of 1 year post-secondary technology academics, as well as we will consider some of your work experience and provide, I guess, some points towards it, or like courses that we would recognize in regards to experience. As well as our admissions committee reviews your application, and if there is a requirement for an upgrading program or other assigned academics, we will indicate this to you. And so as stated before, if it is required, you would have 3 to 6 years to complete whatever academics would be indicated as outstanding. So To meet those upgrade requirements, you would either need to take a recommended college course. We will indicate which courses or areas we think you would need to get further education on. We also have technical exams that you can apply through OSET for. And with a technical exam, when you're given an assigned course, you would say that I would want to write this exam on this particular course. And we would then, there's a fee associated with it. We would then process that and indicate to you a study guide for you to use, as well as allow you the amount of time you need in order to be prepared for your technical exam. And then we would make arrangements with you on when and where you would take that exam. It would have to be proctored. We would need somebody to oversee you while you're writing the exam, or in some cases, you could come to our office at OSET and we would have somebody oversee and proctor the exam for you as well. The other option we have is what's recognized as prior learning assessment recognition, or PLAR, and this can also help you get credit. So some of the information that you've learned does not necessarily have to be in the classroom, and we would recognize that. But what we would need is a lot of evidence from you as to what has occurred. This can happen through training certificates that you've taken, or just indicating through some of the work that's been done in the past, and references and items of that nature would allow for you to potentially use PLAR. Now, using a prior learning assessment would not remove the need to potentially do some courses. We could, through PLAR, allow anywhere, exempt you from 1 to 4 courses that have been given to you, but it would not be a full 1 year of education in the classroom, but it could be up to maybe 4 courses based on what you've submitted to us that we would review and confirm that you have competency in those areas. So one of the other areas or items we often recommend is that perhaps you could just do a self-assessment ahead of time just to see if you are at a technician or technologist level, and we have provided a link below for you to do so. What that does is it asks you a set of questions and for you to sort of self-assess your strengths and your awareness of various items that are brought forward. So you would indicate that you feel you're at a technician or technologist level, you're in a certain discipline, and then it would just sort of ask you questions along those lines for you to confirm your knowledge. And then at the end, it would give a summary on your level of competency and recognition. So that's the academics component that we look at and do an assessment against your file. The other thing is mentioned was your work experience. So with our work experiences, if you have, what we look for is sort of the various tasks that a CTEC or a CET would do. So for a technician level, as I said, is 2 years of work experience, the appropriate level. And generally we find technicians are working under general supervision. And these are some of the activities that we see technicians doing. They could be testing, they could be inspecting, there's design drafting. I know there was talk about AutoCAD in the previous session, maintenance, estimating, surveying. Some of these things fall under a technician designation. As well as the work experience we are looking at is submission of some documentation. So we would need your resume. We're looking for a signed job description from your supervisor confirming the work that you do, as well as we would also request some references. So one is a supervisor that you've worked with, and one may be a colleague that we would also confirm and ask them. We'd send them a questionnaire, and they would confirm your level of knowledge as well. So this is more just ensuring that, you know, on your resume, you're going to tell us what you've done, and we just need to confirm this through your supervisors, job descriptions, and others that have worked with you, that indeed you have the knowledge required to reach at the technician level. The same idea works with the technologist. So again, it's 2 years work experience, and for this designation, you would need the equivalent of 3 years in an engineering technology program in Ontario. So under the technologist level, you're actually carrying out some more complex work than a technician would do, and you're working independently in most cases, or under some really basic direction. So the technologists tend to be supervisors or managers, And these are some of the levels, some of the activities we see that technologists do. So they're more designing, production, testing, quality control. So items of those nature we're looking at. And once again, the certification requirements, documents that we would need would be the resume, job description signed by a supervisor, and again, 2 or 3 references. In each of these cases, for the technician and the technologist, you would be required to pass a professional practice exam. We do have a internationally educated professional practice exam as well, and the admissions committee would indicate which exam you would need to write. So by passing this exam, it really shows your awareness of legal and ethical responsibilities to the public, employers, and yourself. And the test itself is 100 questions, multiple choice, based on 3 sections of practice, law, and ethics. And it's roughly 3.5 hours long, although most people do it way before then, but it is 3.5 hours long. And it focuses on law, the OSET Act itself, our bylaw, as well as the code of ethics that we have, rules of professional conduct, and our terms of reference. And so through those questions and the exam, the successful completion of the exam, this would help get you to a certified level. Should for some reason you are not successful in a particular section, you still have the ability to rewrite that section. We do not ask you to rewrite the whole exam. It will only be these sections that were unsuccessful that you would have to go back and do a second time in order to be successful on the professional practice exam. Another area that I know you've heard from others as well is on our English language benchmark. So our Canadian language benchmark is at the level of 7. And so it's demonstrated through those various things, as well as we only accept tests taken in the last 2 years. And these are the 4 that we currently have. So it's IELTS Academics, it's the TOEFL internet-based test, CAEL, as well as PTE, which is, I think, Pearson is the other name for this particular one. And those are the 4 that we're currently accepting. I know there's many others that are out there, but these 4 are at the level that we're looking for technologists and technicians to be at a particular academic level. And it is also equivalent to what Ontario colleges are asking for with their admissions, entry admissions as well. So on that note too, you could also, in point number 2, if you are going to school currently and your education was administered in English, we have a list of countries on our website that also qualify in order to indicate that your language of instruction was in English, and these countries are recognized as always giving them in English. And so in that case, if you have received your academics from those countries that are listed, you would have the English language benchmark waived and would not have to do a test on that. Finally, and only for the CET, as mentioned before, there's a technology report that would have to be written for a technologist. The CTEC does not need it. And so what it does is it shows your ability to effectively examine and describe an engineering or applied science technology program. So you should provide in your technology report, provide well-structured recommendations and conclusion using some of your academic background and work experience. So the process for doing this is that you would first submit a proposal, and that proposal is usually like 2 or 3 pages that would just indicate what you will be solving, what the issue is that you're looking to resolve, and how you would go about doing it. So that proposal would be submitted to us. Our admissions committee would look through it, indicate if it's successful, or if there's items that they need to see in the proposal to help you out with your report itself. And then once that's been approved, you would submit the report for assessment within 1 year. We give you 1 year to write it and submit it. And again, that's only for technologists that have to write the technology report. So how to join is you would go to our website, which is www.oset.org, and select the login button. So as you can see here in step 2, you would then select sign up and join. We just ask for some email and password as your login information. And then you would just go in and complete your profile and complete your application. So again, your profile would consist of who you are, where you live, items of that nature, and then the application itself, and then there would be a fee for applying. And finally, some good news for some of you, perhaps, is that if you are a newcomer to Canada, within the last year, we do have what we call the New Canadian Application Offer. So what that does is it actually waives the application fee that I was talking about. And what we would need for that to prove is that if you have your landing papers, if you have a work permit, if you're a permanent resident, if you have a card, it indicates that you arrived in Canada within the year. We would definitely, allow you to apply without any additional fees whatsoever. So this is, what OSET's doing to help you get started on your road to certification. So with that, I will hand it back over to Julia for the next few slides. And thank you very much. And I'll answer questions at the end if we have time.
Oh, that's great. Thank you so much, Barry. So I'm just going to go over really quickly because I know everyone is probably very busy. They want to end their day. Some other benefits of joining OSET. So I did mention the networking aspect, and you could network whether it's through the OSET chapters, joining a committee, or even just attending OSET's events. We recently had our annual conference, and that was in Ottawa. It takes place every year in a different location in Ontario. We have our awards gala, and we also have other events where there's always an opportunity to network. Another thing that we have is our own job board. It's the Canadian Technical Employment, we call it Network Job Board. We call it the C10 because it's just, again, another acronym. It's easier to make it shorter. This is exclusively for OSET members. So you get access to a whole variety of jobs, which would be in your field throughout the province of Ontario. And when we mention career enhancement, I know a lot of people today were discussing different course offerings. We also offer courses, but we offer them at a very, very deep discount because our aim is not to make money off of our members. Our aim is to provide a service to the members through engagement. So our whole point is whether we offer the PMP introduction course, Lean Six Sigma courses, anything, CAD training, Rivet training, leadership classes, everything we offer. And we also do have quite a few free offerings because the idea is that we want people to be able to boost their credentials, learn more, and hopefully advance in their profession as well. And last but not least, we have member discounts. So many nonprofits, OSET's no exception, offer member discounts, whether that's on insurance. So we have really great rates on home and auto insurance, attractions, like let's say, for example, Ripley's Aquarium. These are mostly attractions are GTA based or also accommodations. This is pretty common for most nonprofits. I would again like to stress to everyone that the most important thing, whether you join OSET or another association you feel that is a good fit, really use that opportunity to get a certification and to networking. Networking is always key to promoting yourself. You could take a lot of classes, but again, and expanding your knowledge is important, but it's also always to advance in any sort of career and field. And I know that even from my personal experience, and I'm not an internationally educated professional, it's always who you know. So if we go to the final slide, I would like to also offer for everyone, OSET will be having a free career event for internationally educated professionals. This is actually the second year we're hosting this. It's going to take place on Tuesday, September 27th. I actually do have a link that I'm going to send to everyone right now in the chat. It's an Eventbrite link. We're currently working out the actual details of the agenda, which will be posted within the next couple of weeks. This event, though, last year we had an excellent resource who gave really great tips on resume writing. She gave samples of resumes, what to do in an interview. We also get people who work for major companies who hire engineers, and they come in and they discuss what it is they're looking for. We also are going to hit on our salary survey and different sort of salary levels you could expect depending on the discipline and also the level you're at. Are you a technician? Are you a technologist? So I do encourage everyone to sign up. It is, again, it's free to attend and it's online, so you could hop on and hop off. We also in the evening will have an in-person networking event for internationally educated professionals who are not members of OSET. This will be based out of the Greater Toronto area. So I understand not everyone could actually take part in that. And the ones that can't, please do attend the online event. Last year we had, I think, close to 167 people showed up. So it was very positive. Again, I'd like to thank everyone for letting us speak today at your event. Thank you. And if there's any questions, put them in the chat.
Julia, Barry, that was great. Thank you so much for your time. And I actually have one question here. You mentioned networking on your final slide. Specifically, the question is there an online group or way to connect with other members to get advice and information, like a Facebook group or a LinkedIn group?
Well, OSET has all the social media, whether it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We have to, because that's sort of how we go out to everyone. When it comes to a group, this is sort of where we have our event. So our event is the opportunity for people to network. So we do have an online networking component and we have an in-person. And from there, we're also looking at getting chapters more involved with networking with IEPs to help bring them on. That's something that we haven't implemented. It's just sort of in the works. But of course, if people, we advertise our events out to the public. So you don't actually have to be a member to attend our event. Some events have fees attached to them, but anyone who isn't a member is more than welcome to attend. So, and that was the case with our conference this year too.
Very nice. Got it. Thank you. Much appreciated. We are just over 2:35 and wanted to thank you both again for being part of our Canadian Immigrant webinar conference series. And again, to all the speakers, a big round of applause, virtually, of course. And for those that attended, if you need to get in touch with Julia or Barry, contact details were provided and we can share that, or you can message us at info@canadianimmigrant.ca. Thank you to everyone for attending our webinar conference series in partnership with Access Employment. Special thanks to Sandeep, Hassan, Amy, Barry, and Julia for joining us today and sharing their skills and expertise with everyone. Thanks again to our sponsor, Access Employment. Once again, if you missed anything, we will have this published online on the Canadian Immigrant website. That's canadianimmigrant.ca. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and thank you again for joining.